It is July 30th, and I want to tell you about yesterday. Well, 2 days ago, Saturday, the 28th, I went to Gothenburg for a YouTube gathering, and we had a lot of fun. And it was raining, it was pouring down. Maybe there'll be a video from it at some point. And then the next day, we went to this park, and we were having a barbecue, just a few of us, and we're sitting there, and one guy there, Frederick, he starts looking at his phone, and he asked me, "You know Nathan Wills, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he shows me his phone, and Corey has written something, and at first, the mentality of deciphering thing like that is that Corey is a funny guy, but there was just no indication in that short little sentence that he wrote that indicated that this was in any way a joke. And me being, the guy I am, I immediately went to Nathan's Facebook profile, where I saw that his dad had written a post about how he loved this medium, and he really wanted, us to know that he had taken his life. And I immediately grabbed my phone and just walked away, and I called Sarah. I needed to talk to someone, someone who also knew him, and just, and when I did that call, it was, it was also one of the ways, the way I react. I always try to comfort the other person, and so I was doing fairly fine. And we talked for a few minutes and said we would talk later, and then I had to call. I called my girlfriend, and those moments when you're trying to say something and you just physically can't say it. You try to say, you try to push air through your throat, and you're trying to, form your mouth. To make those sounds, and you just can't do it. The only time that happens is when things like this happen. And the first thing, as I sat down in the grass after I'd hung up, was like, the first thing that hit me, out of all things that could possibly hit me at that time, was a person who wrote a comment on a video of mine like 3 years ago, saying, like, "You don't really know someone online, you're not really friends." Well, and as I drove home from Gothenburg, or I drove to Stockholm, I'm so happy I wasn't alone in the car. I had a friend there, and we would talk about, a lot of other things, and we would even laugh at times. And although it was always there, whenever it was quiet for a minute or something, it always came back. And after I dropped her off, that last 3-hour drive home was so I leave the place, I head out on the highway, and I'm thinking, I need to put some radio on or some music on. I need to process these thoughts somehow. And I turn the radio on, and the sports radio is on, and I'm thinking, okay, that's good. It's Olympics. That'll keep my mind off things. And they do have music on every now and then, and the first song that comes on after about a minute of listening is Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. And I had to pull over, and I pulled over several times. And before I got home, I stopped over again. I pulled over, and there was a certain song that I wanted to hear, because the way I've always dealt with bad things in life, and good, is through music. And so I went onto YouTube to find a specific recording of the Whitlams, an Australian band that they made at the Metro, which is a concert venue in Sydney, Australia. And the story about Whitlams, in very short, is that they were originally 3 band members, and 2 of them have taken their lives. And when Tim Friedman had heard that the bass player had done this, in that case due to gambling, he wrote a song. And I want you to go and listen to that song, because I listened to it over and over and over, and it really helped me. Not to understand or anything, because you could say so many things about the act of taking your life, and so many people really that came out after hearing, because you could see on Twitter, you could just see it, how a person would tweet about something completely unimportant, and then gradually you see people hearing about it, and you just try to, I don't know, you try to understand, you try to think, and you always think, what could I have done, what could I have done? But you just don't know, I mean, you just don't know what's going on inside, and as I pulled over, I did try to record a video, because somehow I just needed to, I needed to say it. I needed to say things, because I know that if I say things, I will start to understand it. I mean, I understand the information somehow, but it doesn't, like the whole image of, the puzzle of my life. This is, I usually say this. My life is a big puzzle. It's more or less complete, but when something happens that, where certain pieces are taken away from the puzzle, then I don't feel whole anymore, because the puzzle is not, complete. I mean, the puzzle will change. Some pieces will become bigger than others. Some pieces will eventually disappear, like old people that you just don't know anymore. And while that puzzle isn't complete, you're just at loss, because you don't understand. You don't understand. And so I pulled over, and I tried to record a video, but I just couldn't say the word. I couldn't say words. It's until that happened to me the first time. It was 12 years ago, when I had to make 2 calls to say that someone had died. And the first one, it was, it was information being passed on. But as I was saying it, I was starting to understand it. And then when I had to make that second call, I just I just couldn't say the words. We were supposed to grow old together. That was the plan. That was the plan. And as I was saying to Sarah yesterday, this is really the backside of the thing we do here on YouTube and Twitter, where the people around us, the people we love, social, online, offline, they're sort of exactly like the people that we grew up in, who lived in the neighborhood, and we would, whenever we felt like we want to play, we would just walk over to the door, and we would, ask him, you want to come out and play? But we can't do that, because, I live in Sweden, he lived in the UK, and Sarah in Germany, and we're all over the world. You can't just walk over to that door, and that's what's really tough, because you feel so alone, because you just wanna you just want to be where these people are right now, like all the people that we, that we have in common, like on the AWOL, like Tia, Sarah, Helene, all of the people that, we know each other and we met each other, and I'm trying to think back to VidCon last year, because that was the last time I saw him, and I'm trying to think and like, what was that moment? What was the moment when we, when we actually, like, physically said goodbye? Because as I was about to send a DM on the phone last night, I opened up that page, and the most recent post I had gotten on a DM was from Nathan, wishing me a happy birthday. And as I went to that Keek video that he did 2 days before, and I wrote about it, he looked so at peace. He looked so at peace, and I was saying in the post that as he's, it's a 27-second video, and after he's finished saying what he was going to say, that moment when he turns his head and it's about to turn off recording, like, I can't get that image out of my mind. Did he know? Did he know? Or I mean, I don't know how it happened, and that image, that thought comes back to haunt me. It's like, was it an impulse thing, or even worse, was it planned? Because you just, and I'm so scared at the same time, so anticipating that he made a video. I don't know if I hope for it or not, that he made a video and he put it on, like a scheduled upload, and it'll suddenly his face will show up in the timeline, and but from an extremely narcissistic point, this is, it's truly the backside of having so many great friends, is when things like this happens, and you just, like the song I was talking about, the Whitlam song, and I really want you to go listen to it, that specific recording, the way he talks about it. He says, my first day back, and I was rolling around town saying, stay away from edges, stay away from ropes if you can. And I know I'll feel better, and I know I will at some point transition into a place where I will be, where I'll be only grateful for who he was and what he was to me. But right now I'm still in the trying to figure things out. I guess there are steps you go through for some reason, and I want to make another video, something that where I have some kind of not distance, but I have managed to kind of gather my thoughts for his birthday next week, or this week, and so thank you all. Thank you all so much for sharing your thoughts and helping me, narcissist, helping me manage to process and understand is not the right word, but trying to get a grip on things, and that realization that, okay, it has happened, and I now have to, my puzzle is now going to be very different than it was 2 days ago. And it's so weird, because I've been thinking about him for the last week, because I really wanted to include him in a project, because he is such an amazing musician, and his music, I listen to it a lot when I drive alone, because I like that kind of music when I'm driving. It's just, it frees your mind to dwell on, you know, a lot of different things. I still haven't had the guts to go and watch the Advent video he did, but I will at some point. And those videos are now going to be so different, because his work is so, you know, it's such a big overlay with the music in those, and it's and to all of you, especially those who knew him, you know, in this I don't know, clique, this floating clique of people, where we kind of all know each other a little bit more and a little bit less. I love you all. I truly do. I love you all. I mean, it's so many different ways, but in one big way that it's just. Because I've been trying to figure out what the name, as I was walking here, the YouTuber who died from the tornado in the US. I remember the feeling of loss for someone I had never known, and it was a strange feeling. And I know now, since, you know, Corey and Kater and Sarah and everybody, and KK06 and Helen, everybody who's made a video, they've suddenly started to, you know, they've gotten a glimpse on who Nathan Wills was, and a lot of you will start, you know, going back through his videos, and I really want you to do that. Go back through his videos and get to know him. And to those of you who really did know him, although I mean I met him twice, in Summer in the City 2010 and at VidCon last year, and we've Skyped many times, and, you know, but yes, I will make a video on for his birthday, and I was just about to apologize for making a long video. I'm not going to do that. I could go on forever, but I think I feel calmer now, so